Harvey Weinstein. Sound familiar? Well, once a symbol of Hollywood itself, he became even more famous, but not the good kind. Behind all the glitz and glamour, he used his power to manipulate, intimidate, and assault some of your favorite female celebrities for multiple decades. From Iron Man's Gwyneth Paltrow to the legendary Angelina Jolie, his downfall marked a turning point, sparking the hashtag #MeToo movement and forever changing the industry. But how did all this play out in court? Well, let's break it down in this video. Hi, my name is Amy, and on this channel, law won't be boring. It's just stories, rights, and lessons hidden inside the world's most talked about cases. Think of this as your personal guide to understanding the legal side of big lawsuits in less than 15 minutes. I've already done all the legal research for you, so just sit back while I break down your favorite drama in simple, clear terms. Because here's what I believe. Everyone deserves to know their rights. When you understand the law, you become harder to manipulate and more confident in your own power. So, let's make legal knowledge something real, useful, and actually interesting, one case at a time. Before we dive into the courtroom, let's talk about who Harvey Weinstein actually was. For decades, he was one of the most powerful figures in Hollywood. As the co-founder of Miramax and later the Weinstein Company, he produced or distributed some of the biggest films you've probably seen already, such as Pulp Fiction, Shakespeare in Love, Good Will Hunting, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, Inglourious Basterds, Scream, Paddington, She's All That, Kill Bill, The Aviator. He won multiple Oscars, shaped many careers, and basically dominated the whole movie industry. But as his power grew, so did his ability to exploit it. And that is exactly what landed him at the center of one of the most infamous criminal trials of our time. And in October 2017, his true side was revealed to the public. Jodi Kantor and Megan Twohey in The New Yorker revealed decades of sexual misconduct allegations against Weinstein, shocking the whole entire world. This is the start of the hashtag #MeToo movement, where women comes out and speak publicly about their own experiences with sexual violence. Shortly after, he was fired by the board of his own company and expelled from industry groups. And it all went downhill from here. In November, a Canadian actress identified as Jane Doe sued Weinstein for two alleged sexual assaults back in the year 2000 in Toronto and seeks a total of 14 million Canadian dollars. Following this, in the same month, police in New York say they have an actual case against Weinstein, saying they have a credible and detailed narrative of an unidentified woman that is believed to be Paz de la Huerta. My apologies if I mispronounce her name. But this is not it for this month. The New Yorker also claims that Weinstein is using private investigators to cover up his sexual abuse claims. It was claimed that he hired Israeli intelligence agencies and spies to gather dirt on his accusers. Now, back in 2017, former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak revealed that Harvey Weinstein had actually been working with Black Cube, a private intelligence agency run by former Mossad agents. Basically, he hired them to dig up dirt and keep tabs on the women who were speaking up against him. Later on, Black Cube issued an apology for ever working with Weinstein. Now, let's break down Weinstein's first criminal trial in New York, because this was as much about the law as it was about justice. In May 2018, Weinstein surrendered to police and was formally charged with rape and criminal sexual acts involving two women, Miriam Haley and Jessica Mann. Miriam Haley said that Weinstein invited her to his Manhattan apartment for what she thought was a work meeting. But when she tried to leave, things took a dark turn. He grabbed her, forced her into a bedroom, and performed sexual acts on her against her will, ignoring all her desperate pleas to stop. How disgusting. And as for Jessica Mann, she testified that in 2013, Weinstein trapped her in a New York City hotel room. And when she tried to leave, he again blocked the door and ordered her to undress. She said he then raped her. Later, she discovered a needle in the trash and realized that Weinstein had actually injected himself with medication for erectile dysfunction. But then he was released on a $1 million bail, but with strict legal conditions: a GPS ankle monitor, passports surrendered, and travel restrictions to just New York and Connecticut. When he was accused of tampering with that monitor, the judge raised bail to $5 million, but under New York bail rules, he only had to post part of that through a bondsman to remain free before trial. Fast forward to January 2020, where the trial begins. Prosecutors were allowed to bring in what's called monolal evidence, which are testimonies from other women not part of the charges, but to show a pattern of predatory behavior, including Annabella Sciorra. The defense pushed back hard by saying this was prejudicial, but the court still allowed it. In court, the prosecutors relied heavily on the testimonies of Miriam Haley and Jessica Mann to prove Weinstein's crimes as the main evidence. Weinstein's defense argued that these encounters were consensual, but the prosecutors didn't stop there. They brought in other women to testify. On top of that, the prosecution called an expert witness to explain how sexual assault victims often behave, which helped strengthen the credibility of Haley and Mann's account, while the defense was forbidden from doing the same thing. By February, the jury returned a split verdict. Weinstein was convicted of two charges: first-degree criminal sexual act in the penal law section of 130.50 and third-degree rape in the section of 130.25, but acquitted on the most serious predatory sexual assault counts, which means he's not guilty for this charge. Legally, that was significant. The state proved criminal liability, but not the higher threshold of proving he was a serial predator beyond a reasonable doubt. Then, in March 2020, he was sentenced to 23 years in state prison. He got 20 years for the criminal sexual act conviction against Miriam Haley and 3 extra years for the rape in the third-degree conviction against Jessica Mann. For a man in his late 60s, that was essentially a life sentence. His lawyers immediately claimed the sentence was excessive and filed appeals in April 2021. They argued that he didn't get a fair trial and pointed to a few key issues. One, the court wouldn't dismiss a juror who allegedly lied during selection. Two, the judge allowed too much monolal evidence from other accusers. And three, the Sandoval ruling stopped him from testifying in his own defense. His lawyers then pushed for a new trial on the criminal sexual act charge and want the rape in the third-degree conviction overturned, claiming it was time barred. But this is not it. In January 2020, when Weinstein's New York trial began, Los Angeles prosecutors filed their own charges of rape and sexual assault as well. So by July 2021, Weinstein was extradited to California to stand trial. Fast forward to March 2021, a Los Angeles County grand jury indicted Weinstein, focusing first on Jane Doe number 1, later known as Evgenia Chernshova. She alleged forcible rape, forcible oral copulation, and penetration by a foreign object, all said to have happened to her in February 2013. At trial in December 2022, after more than 2 weeks of debates, the jury convicted Weinstein on all 3 counts involving Jane Doe number 1. The sentencing memo said that his actions showed repeated opportunities for reflection, which under California law required full-term consecutive sentences. So, in February 2023, the judge sentenced Weinstein to 16 more years in state prison, to run consecutively with his 23-year sentence from New York. This makes 39 years of prison in total for the rest of his lifetime. The court made this clear. No probation was possible under these felony convictions. Weinstein later appealed, but in June 2024, the California Court of Appeal dismissed it and upheld both the conviction and the sentences. So it is still on. Apart from this, other allegations were also brought forward in Los Angeles. Jane Doe number 2, later known as Lauren Young, testified about a 2013 assault, but here the jury could not reach a unanimous decision, with a 10-2 split leading to her conviction. The court declared a mistrial. Since there was no conviction on the charges, there was no sentencing for this. Jane Doe number 3, a massage therapist of Weinstein, alleged sexual battery from 2010. This charge survived initial dismissal from a judge who said that the charges was too old and outside the statute of limitations, but ended with a full acquittal at trial. So there was no sentencing as well. Jane Doe number 4, later known as Jennifer Seibel Newsom, testified that Weinstein raped her back in 2005 and indicted on charges of forcible rape and sexual assault. Her long, emotional testimony became one of the trial's most dramatic moments. But the jury remained split 8-4 in favor of conviction, which led to a hung jury and another mistrial. So, no sentencing for this one as well. And finally, Jane Doe number 5 had accused Weinstein of assaults in 2009 and 2010. But because she declined to testify, the prosecutors dropped the 4 related charges before trial. So, by the end of Los Angeles proceedings, Weinstein faced 11 charges initially. Legally, the outcomes were mixed: 1 full conviction, 2 mistrials, 1 acquittal, and 1 dismissal. But the most significant result came from Jane Doe number 1's case, which is 16 years in California prison to be served after his New York sentence. But wait, this is not over yet. There's a huge plot twist. So in April 2024, the New York Court of Appeals did something major. It overturned Harvey Weinstein's 2020 conviction, meaning he won't have to serve his first 23-year sentence anymore. Why? The judges said the trial court had made what they called an egregious error in a 4-3 decision in April. Basically, the judge had allowed testimony from women whose accusations weren't part of the official charges. Legally, that's a problem because it violated New York's Molyneux rule since it doesn't allow prosecutors to use prior bad acts just to show that someone has a criminal tendency. The court said this testimony unfairly prejudiced the jury, making Weinstein look guilty beyond the specific charges on trial. So once the conviction was overturned, prosecutors quickly revived their investigations. They looked back at allegations from Kaja Sokola dating to 2006. By September 2024, a New York grand jury issued a fresh indictment, officially adding Sokola's claim into the case. That set the stage for Weinstein's retrial, which began in April 2025 at the Manhattan Criminal Court. Our retrial brought back familiar names to the courtroom, but now Sokola's allegations were being heard in a criminal trial for the first time. By May 2025, Sokola testified, and the case moved into deliberations. The jury delivered a split verdict in June 2025. This is how it went. So Weinstein was found guilty and convicted on 1 count of first-degree sexual act for the assault of Miriam Haley. He was acquitted on the criminal sexual acts charge involving Kaja Sokola, but on the third-degree rape charge involving Jessica Mann, the jury could not reach unanimity. Reports suggested that one juror refused to continue deliberating, forcing the judge to declare a mistrial on that count. So you might be wondering, what does all this mean legally? The Manhattan District Attorney's Office has already indicated it will seek a third trial to resolve the unresolved rape charge. This keeps the legal process open for Jessica Mann's case, so it is not all over yet. So where is Harvey Weinstein today? Well, right now, he's still behind bars, serving his 16-year sentence from his California conviction, though he's appealing that ruling. Meanwhile, in New York, the retrial brought a mixed verdict, and because the jury deadlocked on one of the rape charges, he could be facing yet another trial in the future. Now, what can we take away from this case? First, no one is above the law. Power, money, and influence don't make someone untouchable, and Weinstein proved that. Second, this case shows the power of speaking up. The survivors didn't just tell their stories, they sparked a whole new movement. The hashtag #MeToo opened people's eyes to how common abuse is and how silence protects those who harm. And the bottom line, power should never be used to intimidate or hurt others. Every place, workplace, industry, or relationship needs respect and consent. This isn't just a Hollywood drama. It's a reminder of how we, as a society, can stand up, demand change, and make things better when people refuse to stay silent. And that's a recap of the legal journey of Harvey Weinstein, from a Hollywood powerhouse to convicted felon. If you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next case we cover. And as always, remember, knowing your rights is the first step in protecting yourself. See you in the next one.